My next guest is going to be back in action, taking on Hector Ferral. BORROKA 1, November 22nd. It is right around the corner. It is Mitchell McKee joining me here on the program. Mitchell, how you doing, man?
Good, good. Just in the final week of fight camp, so just getting everything fine tuned, getting the weight down, getting ready to fly out next week, and yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah, and chomping at the bit, I bet. What an opportunity. This is coming up here on the 22nd, like I mentioned. How did this all come together with you getting this fight?
Randall Ailman, who's one of my managers, along with Dave Martin, he's pretty heavily involved in the promotion. So yeah, he just called and asked if I wanted to fight on it, and I said yeah. So.
Okay. Simple as that, which is good. Always nice to be active. I want to go all the way back to the beginning, though. How did you get involved in combat sports? Where did this journey start for you?
Oh, for me, yeah, I was in wrestling for like 20 years. Wrestled at the University of Minnesota in college. Finished. I wrestled in the 2021 Olympic trials for wrestling. And after that, then I kind of didn't really know what I was going to do next. If I was going to do another Olympic cycle or you know go get a regular job or whatever. But that's when Logan Storley gave me a phone call and asked if I wanted to come check out MMA down in Florida. So I'd never gotten a fight before in my life, never trained any striking, nothing. But I've always watched UFC growing up. My buddies and I in high school, like are on the wrestling team. When you're bored cutting weight in the middle of winter in Minnesota, there's not much to do on the weekends, so we just get together and watch UFC fights. So definitely love the sport. I just never had done it because I was just so focused on just wrestling for so long. But yeah, I got down here, tried it for stayed down here for like 2 weeks and tried it out and just absolutely loved it. And within like a month or two, my wife and I moved down here, and yeah, I've been down here for a little over 3 years now. So,
Awesome. Okay, well that's cool. Yeah, one of the best gyms in the world too, over there at Killcliff.
yep.
When obviously like you wanted to try things out and coming over from wrestling, like when did you know this was something that was more than just maybe a hobby, like an actual career for you? Was it that first amateur fight? Like when did you know this was for you, being in MMA?
I didn't do any amateur fights, but I guess when I first came down here, yeah, it was tough right away because I didn't know how to I didn't know how to strike. I didn't know jiu-jitsu. I didn't know any of that. So it was hard right away. I'd say the first year was pretty tough, just like getting beat up a lot on the feet and stuff. I mean, once I could get to my wrestling, then it was good. But um, yeah, and I took my first fight, I think around like 5, 6 months after I started training. So,
Wow. Okay.
um, but yeah, I mean, the first couple fights, I just wrestled the guys in the fights, and then now I'm 3 years down here. I've been working a lot on my striking, my jiu-jitsu, just putting everything together, not just being just good at wrestling or just good at striking or this or that. Just trying to put everything together as a whole and be a complete MMA fighter. So I feel like I'm finally doing that now. But yeah, I mean, it took a while to just get the basics of striking and learn the basics of jiu-jitsu, but definitely having the wrestling background helps because you can always kind of dictate where the fight goes.
Um, the reason I'm just curious about this, that you didn't do any amateur fights, I'm guessing, is just because you felt like with your wrestling pedigree, you're like, I'll win some of these. Like there's guys that can't out wrestle me or take me down. Was that sort of the reason why? Because a lot of fighters do obviously go amateur, then they go pro. Was that the decision just because you felt like with all the wrestling experience you had, you didn't really need to play catch up in that regard?
Yeah, that's kind of what that's what it kind of came down to. I was gonna maybe take like a one amateur kickboxing fight, but it fell through, and then I ended up signing the contract for my pro debut like shortly after that. So, but yeah, I mean, we knew that if I needed to, I'd just bring the fight to the ground. Which if you look at my first couple fights, that's what I did. Just pretty much wrestled the whole time.
Yeah.
But
Well,
it's just good to get that experience in the cage too. Which, like you said, I knew that I could just get my wrestling involved if I needed to, and I did for the first few fights. And then, as at the same time though, I was being diligent in the room at making sure that my striking was evolving and getting better so that I could eventually, stand on the feet if I needed to.
Let's talk about your opponent here. 10-fight veteran. What do you know about him? How do you feel like you match up against him here?
I don't know too much about him. I'm not big into, looking into guys too much because then sometimes you focus on them too much versus yourself. I'm just, I'm at the point in my career right now where I'm just trying to, like I was saying, just get better myself. So every day I'm just focused on myself. But I know he throws like leg kicks and stuff like that. So there's been little things that we've focused on, but I like the matchup. I feel like I was just saying, I feel like on the feet I've gotten so much better, and not just as a striker, but just being complete. Whether if I need to drop down and shoot, I could shoot, or if he defends my takedown, I'll drive right up to my feet into clinch and strike from inside in the clinch, or from distance, whatever it is. I feel like I'm getting there well rounded.
Training camp. Obviously, we talked about it there at one of the best gyms in the world at Kill Cliff. I know we'd be here all day if we named all your training partners, but who are some of the names you get to work with over there? Because you got a ton of variety, a lot of high level guys too.
Yeah. I mean, around my weight, we have a lot of up and coming guys, which I think is nice because all of us are hungry and we push each other hard. Um, and then obviously you have the veterans of the sport that are there, and those guys are nice because you get to learn from them and pick their brains but yeah, I mean, I work a lot with Logan Storley, and then Michael Blockus, who's also on the card. He's a weight above me. Train with him a lot. Jordan Oliver's there, who's a two two or three time NCAA champ
Yeah,
in
I was
wrestling.
gonna
Just
say,
started
yeah.
fighting. Work with him a lot. And then just I mean, yeah, like you said, it's hard to name all the guys, but and then Robbie Lawler's been since he retired really helping us with coaching, and Nick Lentz, who's a UFC veteran, and
Great coach.
um,
Nick Lentz is awesome. I can't say enough good things about that guy. He's and it's so cool to see that the coaching thing has worked out so well for him because he was a good fighter too.
oh yeah, I mean he sometimes he's a little quiet and kind of you're a little scared to talk to him at first because he he doesn't open up very easily, but then once you start getting talking to him, and once you start picking his brain and realize how much he does love the sport and how much he wants to share his knowledge, and I think he sees us young guys like myself and Michael that are going in every day trying to learn, and we're asking him questions in all these positions because we know he knows every position, and I think he likes that. He likes seeing us, you know, actively just trying to get better in every little position, and asking him because we know he's got the knowledge. So, but yeah, like I said, all those coaches, Dieter Navarro, is striking coach that I've been working with for the last couple of years. Just all the coaches and partners, and I feel like the group we got right now is pretty great. And this last, the first couple of years was, especially the first year down here, was tough because I just trying to learn the basics of striking and jiu-jitsu and stuff, and I wasn't doing a lot of one-on-one stuff because you're the new guy, and then now I'm starting to get to the point where I got all the basics down. Now we're trying to get kind of fine tune everything, and get all the little details that make the difference. So those coaches and all my partners are definitely helping me do that.
Who will be in your corner for this fight? Who's gonna be in the cage with you?
It'll be Dieter Navarro, Robbie Lawler, and Logan Storley.
That's awesome. Having a corner like Logan Storley and Robbie Lawler, that must be great. Also, too, I wouldn't want to I'd want to do everything right because Robbie, I mean, he's a pretty intimidating guy, right?
Yeah, I mean, he is, but he isn't.
Yeah.
He's a super nice dude, and if you buy in, he's gonna do anything for you. Like we go to his house and work out, and he's got some great equipment over there for us to use, and he's willing to do anything to help us young guys, especially now that he's done with his career and he wants to get into the coaching, and he's just been so great to us. He just helps he's just the extra eye that kind of looks, and he'll find one little thing here and there that just makes a huge difference, or he'll be able to explain something in a way that just makes it make more sense. Whatever it is, he kind of hovers around our groups and just finds those little details that are so important. But yeah, he's been huge.
How's this fight playing out on November 22nd? How do you see it going down?
I think it's gonna be a tough fight. I know I'm ready. I've had a good camp. Just came off of a fight a couple months ago. I think my striking's been feeling really good. But it's I think I think I'll probably use the wrestling a lot, but I wouldn't be surprised if it ends on the feet.
Okay, there we go. And obviously, you get this win here. You're going to be 8-0. That's a great record for any promotion. What would a win sort of do for you here, especially a finish? Where do you see your career headed with a victory here, potentially? Obviously, not looking past the 22nd.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely don't. I never try to look past, but it's hard not to sometimes. But yeah, I mean, I feel like I'm ready finally to be in the UFC. I think the most important part is to know that you're ready. You're not just ready to get there, but stay there and build within the organization. And you got to put in the work and have the skills to do that. And I feel like I'm finally getting to that point where I'm ready. And because even a year ago, I don't think even if I did the contender series and whatever and got in, I don't think my skills would have been, I would have ran into somebody that was a little more well-rounded than me. But now I feel like I'm getting to the point where I'm ready to, climb the ladder in the UFC. And so hopefully after this fight, we can talk about getting there.
And how much confidence does it give you just the fact you get to train with UFC mainstays a lot at the gym? So I'm sure you're able to kind of gauge where you're at skill set wise.
Yeah, I mean, it's practice, so it's hard to gauge sometimes because we don't try to kill each other, and I in practice I'll try to do a lot more things that I wouldn't do in a fight necessarily, just trying crazy stuff, but yeah, it's great to be able to train with guys and just kind of see what the skill level is and kind of how you match up, and I've been there for 3 years now, starting from absolutely terrible and no striking, and from there to where I am now, I can, and going with the same partner 3 years ago versus now, you can tell how big of a difference it is. So that helps a lot too. But yeah, just being able to go with these guys every day and just get the knowledge, and you know you get to learn, get the cage experience without having the cage experience.
Yeah.
It's things that you can kind of take with you into fights. Take some veteran points and bring them into your young career, and then make yourself a little more mature inside that cage.
Before we go, what are some of your hobbies outside of fighting? I don't know if you watch any other sports or you're got any other hobbies on top of training. You're married, obviously, so I'm sure
Yeah.
you got a lot going on there. What else you got going on these days?
Well, full time dad mode lately.
Oh, cool. Okay,
Got a 1 year old, so
nice.
the last year's been just a lot of dad stuff. But it's been great. Like I said, I think this last year for me training and getting better has been one of the best years, and I think part of that's just having my daughter to motivate me and make sure I'm doing this as hard as I can, and that's the reason my wife and I moved down here. But yeah, I mean, hobbies wise, I don't have a ton other than I love watching football. Back home in Minnesota, I did a lot of hunting and fishing, and down here in Florida, it's hard sometimes because I'm training every day. But I love going out and doing stuff with my family and with my daughter and wife, and um, watching football on the weekends.
Watch any hockey at all? Just being from Minnesota, or ever get into it or no?
I a little bit here and there. I've been watching lately. I've been watching a little basketball, which I never did growing up because I was a wrestler, so you didn't really follow basketball.
Mhm.
But just because of the Timberwolves and Anthony Edwards, and that guy's just special, so it's hard not to watch him. But a little bit of hockey too. The Florida Panthers actually, which is crazy. It's the Florida Panthers got me kind of back into watching hockey, not the Minnesota Wild
Mhm.
that I grew up, kind of around. But yeah, I mean, I just love watching sports too. It's just especially like high level competition sports. It's hard to, you know, it's fun to watch those, especially like football. The other day, what was it? Ravens Bengals. How it was like 35-34, came down to a 2 point conversion at the end. Like just those high intensity moments. Love watching those.
Yeah, there we go. I was going to say because the Wild, I was getting back to hockey quickly. They're actually playing well this season. I think they're second in the
Yeah,
West, so
yeah,
it's
they're
been
doing
pretty
good.
exciting. So
Yeah,
I'm Canadian, so I always have to get the hockey question in at least
yep,
once. So there we go.
yep.
Mitchell, thanks so much for doing this. We're looking forward to it. It is November 22nd. BORROKA 1. Hope I'm saying that right. There's anyone you want to thank? Any sponsors? Any social media you want to mention? I'll give you the last word.
Yeah, just go follow my socials. It's Mitch McKee MMA. And then sponsors wise, just think Kill Cliff FC and Get Biofuels, GPAC, um, Unique Movers, and then all my coaches and management and family and friends and everyone that's going to be out there next weekend. Thank you guys, and I'm looking forward to having a great weekend.